morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
They're ganging up on Apple here, Joel. We had UBS cutting the price target on Friday. Citigroup flat out downgrading Apple here this morning. They're citing iPhone 5 sales, concerns about them. You've also got BMO cutting their price target on Apple. So Apple under a little bit of pressure here again. I was just looking at the charts there over the weekend. That Google-Apple spread is now 200 points. This was zero just over 3 months ago. Facebook starting to break down. And we're going to look at the technicals on some of your top S&P components. Joel, what do you think of this Apple? We did slip under 500 in the pre-market. We're back over it now, though, trading around 504.
Well, let's recap Friday's activity in the stock a little bit. Gap lower, really didn't get much of a bounce. But what's interesting is we've been talking about that 505.75 level. It did get to 505.58 and had a nice bounce. Did you use that 505.75 number?
Yeah, actually I did. It cut through by about 20 cents, 505.55, and then the way back up got up to 506.5. It pulled back to 506. I'm like, you know what? I got a 50-cent reference point here, so I tried to try to play it for the long side. I thought it might get an end-of-day bounce, which it did, so I bought a 506. I actually sold out around 508.5 on a pullback. But obviously I'm glad I didn't hold it overnight or anything with these Citigroup downgrade. Stock is under pressure here. I mean, Joel, it is critical that this stock holds the 500.
Well, you know it's not. I mean, at least early in the session, it's
good that it's not below it right now.
Yeah, well, did you just see it just spiked down to 496.89 in the pre-market a few minutes ago?
Well, actually, that was about an hour ago, right?
Yeah, well, actually, just did it again.
No, I don't have that. That's a FINRA. That's something cross, and that's something weird. I didn't see that go down by on the tape. Did you see a lot of volume go by on that? Because if it did that was a split second. Maybe it did. I actually do see it on. It's written on the tape. Yep.
36,000 shares I have traded approximately.
That's insane if that just spiked down like that and spiked right back up. So basically just flash crashed right there if that's the case.
Yeah, 496.69 is the pre-market low. We were talking about this whole 400 handle. I mean, I do have a low on February 16th at 486.63. So if we really do get rock and roll on the downside, that's the target. But looking at the monthlies, I mean, where are your reference points in the 400s?
Yeah, there's just not a lot of reference points here. When you look at the 400 to 500 area, we ran up basically in 2 months from 400 to 500 and never really peeled back. So what happens is when you come back into this area, there isn't a lot of stock that's been accumulated here. It's all just kind of just basically ran straight up. And we always say when the stock runs up through an area, it can run down through an area quickly. And that's why I really want to see Apple hold 500. I'm liking the price action here, Joel, right now, though, because now it's up at 506.73. We spiked through 500 in the pre-market. Maybe, hurt a few people, knock a few people out there, and it's coming back. So I still say if this stock can hold 500, that's the critical number. That's my bogey on it.
Yeah, and for resistance points, you got to use the close, 509.79 up to the 511 area as your resistance points. But since everyone's doing upgrades and downgrades and targets and stuff, I am lowering my target in Apple to 705.07.
Yeah, so the Citigroup, just to give you the info again, Citigroup lowers their price target to 575 from 675. They downgrade it to neutral from buy. Just crossing here, BMO, I guess, is lowering their price target to 670 from 730. Thanks, BMO. I mean, 170 points up from here. But obviously the analysts here are starting to get somewhat bearish, and that's one good sign. Like, I always like it when all the analysts start getting bearish, because then you know a bottom's getting close. Those guys seem to always be wrong. So I don't know. 507. So we started the show as 504, had the spike down, and now it's 507. So for some reason, Apple is trying to find some strength here right now. Moving on, I wanted to talk about Google, because look at this Google-Apple spread. If you look back, and I'm going to just take you out to the weeklies on it. If we go back 3 months ago, both of these stocks were trading around 680. Now, obviously, Google is at 705 and Apple's at 507. So it's a 198-point spread there. So if you were playing that Apple-Google pair and you had on the right way, there was 198 points to be made there.
Just gonna stick with my 705 number. That earmarks the 50% retracement from the all-time high at 774.38 down to that disastrous low at 636. That 705 area represents the midpoint. We've snuck above it a couple times during an intraday basis, but have yet to close above it. If it did, we could hold 705 on a close and look for this thing to go back. Perhaps and trade 720, 725.
Wow, key that 700 area. I like that number there too. Facebook, Joel, though, what about this stock here? This stock actually, we talked about it. It kind of fooled us a bit when it had that one update there a couple days ago. But then on Friday's action, it got up to as high as 28.33 and then just peeled back. So anyways, stock trading 27 right now. It's up 20 cents here, but there's a critical number here. You wanted me to highlight it this morning. That low from 26.68. Critical the stock stays above there because there's a lot of air below.
Yeah, you could draw a line right across there on all those lows. 26.76 the low on Friday. Go back to early in December. You had some lows in the 26.80 area, 26.70 area. Just to reiterate what we talked about, the stock had a nice run up from under $20, got close to 29, and then you had a bunch of tight ranges. And when you have that kind of thing, sometimes it signals a reversal in the trend. This 26.60 area, you bulls can still hang on to that. But if it can't hold there, I think we're going to slump back into the low 20s.
Couple other upgrades and downgrades. Key ones to cite. Travelers Group getting upgraded by RBC. TRV, it's trading up there. About 60 cents this morning on that upgrade, 73.90. Very, very light volume here. Look at this chart, though, on Travelers. Talk about consolidation, Joel.
Yeah, you got some highs there to deal with at 74.36 on the 5th of December, and then I believe you have the all-time high at 74.70. So you got some reference points there in the stock, trading up on light volume, as you mentioned.
And Texas Instruments getting downgraded at Stern AG. Stock trading down 30 cents here in the pre-market on the Texas Instruments downgrade. $30 is the bogey on this one for me.
Yeah, it did have a double bottom, 30.36, 30.44, trading right there in the pre-market. Below that, you do get a drop down to the $30 level. But before I hadn't looked at Texas Instruments in a long time, and I figured, I bet you it's around $30.
It's always around $30.
Really,
Look at that weekly chart. This thing hangs around $30, man.
Yeah. I mean, until they start making something besides calculators, I mean, I don't know.
It's been at $30, I feel like, for years. I'm going to go out to the monthlies here. Yeah, this stock has just flirted with this. Aside from the whole financial crisis, seems like this stock's already, you can go back to 2005. It was trading $30. I mean, I guess you could be writing calls and puts on that thing long term. It always seems to be around $30. That's interesting. GE, you wanted to highlight a potential, well, obviously we had the double top area there, but you wanted to highlight a potential triple bottom in the stock as well.
Yeah, three lows, 21 double to 21.57. So that's gonna be good support. It just kind of chugged along on Friday as the market kind of vacillated up and down. But also, you got, not only do you got a double bottom, you got a double close here at 21.62. If we go into rally mode, that 21.76 level, Friday's high. Maybe a place to lighten up on some longs. I don't think I'd short it in that area. I'd wait for that 21.92 to 95 level.
Huge
and
up there.
I'm sure there's a few boys at 22 with a couple 100,000.
Oh, yeah, there's some big stock at 22, some at 21.95, and that's why you see this thing top out 21.95, 21.92 on those couple days there last week as the high-frequency traders sit in front of that area. So that area still remains major high-frequency resistance, that 21.90 to 21.99 area. Moving on, AIG was obviously in the news all over the place last week here. I drew that trend. It's still intact. Obviously, the 32.5 secondary is still on the table. 34.5 is trading up 50 cents here this morning. So AIG getting a decent lift here this morning. Love that trend line. Like to see it obviously stay up and hold there. We did reverse sharply off that 35.82 high that we made 3 days ago towards the lower end of this range now.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this chart, usually when I pull something up, I can get a feel for it. But this thing, has had a hard past couple days. Looking at 33.66, which was Friday's low. We're still a ways away from that. I guess use Friday's high as a reference points, 34.35. We are, trading above that level. So if we do break below 34.35, look for it to come down and test the close at 33.94.
IBM, you were talking about a potential double bottom in this area. You don't see that often in IBM. I'll take you to the last few days here to show you the area he's talking about. I think you're talking about that 191.37 area and
Yeah.
191.36.
What's going on with IBM? I mean, the stock made its all-time high, pulled off, trade below 185. The market's rallied pretty nicely and come back. Warren Buffett owns it. I mean, what's going on? Let's hear your analyst explanation on this. This thing is just hasn't been going up.
It's just, and it's been quiet too. Like, I mean, we haven't really seen, it seems like it has like only a dollar or two tops range every day. So it has been quietly consolidating here. I don't know which way this thing wants to go. Obviously, had the huge breakdown from the 210 down to the 184 area. We've come back. We've found some resistance in the 190, high 194s, 195 area. So that remains your major resistance. Right here, right now, you're kind of just sitting. You can use that little double bottom that Joe's talking about, 191.25, 191.30 for a day trade. I don't know if I'd usually use it for a swing trade level or not. So difficult to say why it hasn't participated in the latest rally.
Yeah, just one final comment on that. I mean, a lot of the components in the S&P have recovered from the November break, have recovered, at least half of what they've lost. And that's not the case for IBM here. You need to trade back up to that $200 level in order to get a 50% retrace it. And it's just, it can't even get through 195.
195 looks like a little bit of a wall right now. Chevron here, though, is one that has come back quite a bit. Obviously, we drew that pennant there a week and a half ago, and the stock started taking off. Had a nice run of four consecutive days of higher highs and higher lows, but the last couple days that run has been broken. Is this the pause here for Chevron? Is it going to continue higher, or is it going to start to break down, Joel?
Well, it shrugged off the Goldman Sachs downgrade on ExxonMobil on Friday, which you probably. That's the only time I think I've ever saw this. You have basically a double bottom from 107.40, 107.46. So that's your support level, and the highs were only 15 cents apart. So you can bounce around between 107.40 and 108.54 until you get a definitive move. You also have three closes right around this 108 level, 107.91, 107.82, 108. So I'd use that as your swing level. If you cut through the 107.40 area, I think you got to let go of those longs.
Coca-Cola is another stock here that's just been consolidating. I mean,
Yeah.
like crazy in the last basically month. We've traded between this 37 and 38. Like defined, you want to talk about defined resistance to defined support. This $38 like a wall. Obviously down to 37 was like a wall, but you're saying the support's coming up to around 37.50 now.
Yeah, you have five lows and consecutive lows in the 37.50s. I have to use that as major support. Look for it to migrate back up to 38. You have multiple tops in that area. So trade the range, or what was the tradethepattern.com or something?
Channelingstocks.com.
Yeah,
Thinking
yeah.
of that again. I guess that one works here too. I wonder if that site still exists or not. That channeling. I remember that guy who was retiring. Channelingstocks.com. Remember, there's a kid on the TV advertisement. How are you retiring already? Channelingstocks.com. Buy low, sell high, the same stock again and again. I love that stuff. That was hilarious. So, but it works. It kind of does work sometimes. So you got to look at this, and you do have that channel. The upper end of this channel is in the 37.90s for Coke. So be aware of that if you're trading it. And obviously, Joel's saying that support's coming up a bit. Overall market thoughts here. Obviously, we're up 5 points. I mean, that's good considering Apple. Where is Apple? Let's check it one more time just before. We're 506.94, so we're only down $3 on Apple now. So, but the market's holding up pretty well considering Citigroup downgrading that Apple.
Yeah, we cut through the support that we had at the 1409 level, got down to 1405.75, but got a bounce, just hanging out above the close. I still would use that 1409 and a quarter. That was the close from Friday. I'd use that as support, and then going down to Friday's low at 1405.75 as your resistance. Coming on the upside, I really don't see much at 14.17 and a quarter. That's been the pre-market high. I don't see really major resistance up to 14.19 and a quarter, which was Friday's high. But looks like we're just gonna trade the rest of the week and end up at 14.10 at the end of the
That's
week.
your prediction. Where is Apple? What's your prediction for Apple? We'll both make predictions on this one.
For
I,
the end of the week,
End of the week. Where do you throw out a number? Where do you think Apple is at the end of the week?
505.
Oh, you know what? I was gonna say over 500 too. I was gonna say like 510 or something. Just saying. I think you could get a washout here eventually through 500, but I don't think it's gonna start cutting through and trading down to 450 or anything. I'm not saying buy it though because it's scary to buy. Whenever stock's making new lows, I'd never want to be a buyer. I like it to make a bottom. And then obviously, you have a reference point where you can try to, make a trade off it. Just like I was doing on Friday after I made the 505.50 bottom, I used that for a reference point about the thing at 506. So I'm not trying to pick the bottom. I'm just trying to use reference points to get defined risk in the trade, and that's the whole thing. The whole key with trading always is defined risk. Stocks trading down $3, holding up fairly well considering we did spike through that 500 area. So I still want to see a hold 500 for you bulls there today. If the 500K is back, ooh, I'm gonna get nervous.
Yeah, I mean the reason I really don't think it's going to be get crushed is because you got all these downgrades and
Yeah, they're always
targets
guys are
being
always
reduced.
wrong.
So I mean if they were coming out like
Upgrading it, we'd
I'd like to hear some of these guys on Fast Money because they made a good call when Apple came down to this level before, and they said it was a generational buy. So I went out and I took all my money, all my kids' money, all my mom's money, and I bought Apple. And I
yeah.
mean, I'm waiting for the next generation. So
Generation.
I'm definitely going to be watching Fast Money today.
Yeah, and that was a joke. That was a joke because Joel didn't go out and take all of his money and buy Apple. But I mean, it's nervous. This 500's key. There's just no doubt about it. So keep an eye on that reference number. I'm sure the Bulls will try to defend it in the regular session. Hopefully, it can hold on for you Apple Bulls. That's our show. Have a great trading day. Back with you guys tomorrow.